Greetings, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to the Ultimate Disney Archives. As you can tell, this whole video series is dedicated to the every ounce of genius that is the Walt Disney Company, ranging from their films to the characters and especially their songs. So, with no time to spare, let's start off with the crown jewels of the Disney Company. I'll get to you later, Mickey. I am the Media Messiah, and this is the Top 10 Disney Films. Number 10. Fantasia. Now, this film is beyond different from all other Disney films. For one thing, this is considered a package film, if you may. It's basically a film that consists of several cartoons that sometimes share the same theme. Now, according to my research, it seems that the Disney Company produced many of these package films, such as Saludos Amigos, The Three Caballeros, both starring Donald Duck, and many others such as Make My Music, Fun and Fancy Free, Melody Time, and a lot of others. Oh, and another thing, I'm pretty sure we all have seen Melody Time in some point of our lives. All because of a certain song.
The Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and rain and an apple seed. Yes, He's been good to me.
Brings back memories. Anyways, the reason Disney made package films in the first place was basically, as we all know, during the 40s, World War II was happening. And when the US entered that war, the Army took over the Disney Company so they could make propaganda and training videos. And Disney had nothing to do but to create those war-themed cartoons or package films. So, yeah, life was pretty hard even for them. Anyways, back to Fantasia. Now, it states that this was supposed to be a full-on Mickey Mouse film that was supposed to bring back the character's popularity at that time. Well, if that was the case, I'm pretty sure Walt was smoking more than cigarettes during those days. I mean, would a Mickey Mouse film show something like this from Bald Mountain? You know, for kids! Then again, I suppose kids still can watch Fantasia. I mean, it does possess to Mickey Mouse's famous appearance since Steamboat Willie. I'm of course talking about The Sorcerer's Apprentice. And speaking of that segment, you know the Bearded Wizard who's the boss of Mickey? Well, apparently the guy's name is Yen Sid. Word of advice. If you don't know what that means spelled backwards, then you're brainless. However, if you do know what that means, then consider yourself mind blown. So, while you collect a piece of your blown mind, let's go on with the rest of my list. Number 9. Alice in Wonderland. Now, there have been many film adaptations of Lewis Carroll's masterpiece, but it's Disney's that earns the most popularity. Not! Let me explain. On the film's original release date, fans of Lewis Carroll's, mostly the British, hated the film. Mainly because, and keep in mind, this is what most of them said, that Disney Americanized a true masterpiece. For the love of sweet Nebula. Isn't there one Disney film those snobs like? Seriously, I thought Mary Poppins was the only one that had problems with the British. For God's sakes, it's a kids' movie. The point is, at least it became popular in America. Mainly because it was re-released in the 60s. During the groovy times of the hippies.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Okay. Oh, and a little side note. Back in the 1920s, Uncle Walt began his animation career with a series of short films called Alice's Comedies. Hard to believe.
I have an excellent idea. Let's change the subject.
As you wish. Number 8. Peter Pan. The story of a boy who never grew up, and oh, let's face it, you all have seen it. Seriously, everything from this film combines all the things kids love. You got flying, sword fights, pirates, and Indians for the boys, and mermaids and fairies, or pixies if you want to get technical, with the girls. Plus, by my opinion, not only did this film give us one of the best Disney villains of all time, but also one of the funniest scenes ever put in a film. Like a bitch. And speaking of bitches, number 7. Lady and the Tramp. Now, this was allegedly the first Disney film with an original story. Now, I say allegedly because it was actually based on Happy Dan the Whistling Dog by Ward Green. If you don't know what that is, it's just a story from an old 40 magazine called The Cosmopolitan. I wonder if that still exists. And my eye's been violated. Anyways, whether you considered Lady and the Tramp a ripoff or not, it's still considered a Disney classic. Even more than Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs at that time. But what I really like about this film is the relationship between the main characters, Lady and the Tramp. Seriously, I couldn't think of original names for these characters. Anyways, what I like about the relationship is that there's actually chemistry with them. Well, like the cliche love at first sight routine. Or as I like to call it, the Romeo and Juliet theory. Plus, how can I not talk about the famous spaghetti segment?
Oh, this is the night, it's a beautiful night, and we call it a bella notte. Look at the skies, they have stars in their
Every time I watch this scene, that song gets more iconic every time I hear it. Moving on. Number 6. Pinocchio. Now this is considered one of my favorite classic Disney films to watch. With its amazing animation and memorable characters, it truly surpassed its predecessor, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, by a knockout. Though, like its predecessor, it it does have some problems, such as the screwed up transformation sequence at Pleasure Island. And this is from the so-called happiest place on Earth. Then again, I suppose this scene really gives out a whole new meaning to making an ass out of yourself. Literally. Anyways, I want to share this theory that I made. If Disney were to ever be a country, I'm pretty sure that their national anthem would be the classic song, When You Wish Upon a Star. Basically, all the lyrics sums up all the magic that Disney is known for. Though, there has been some controversies about the message of the song. People say that the song tells kids that everything will be alright if you just wish upon a star. But, like I said about Alice in Wonderland, for God's sakes, it's a kids movie! I'm pretty sure kids are smart enough to not take the song's message by heart.
When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true.
Now that I've talked about a good majority of the golden age of Disney, let us proceed to the modern age of Disney. And what better way to start off with the film that started the famous Disney Renaissance. Number 5. The Little Mermaid. With its amazing animation, memorable characters, and iconic musical numbers, not only did this thrilling fantasy film save the popularity of animated films, but also the entire Disney company after its downfall in the 80s. Yeah, for those who are watching this, I have to be honest, the 80s was possibly my least favorite time period. I think. Anyways, remember what I said about the Disney Renaissance? What better way to start off with the film that started the famous Disney Renaissance? Well, basically, it was a time during Disney's history that brought us some of the greatest animated films of all time. Films just like good old Uncle Walt would make. Play me off, Sebastian.
These niggas say they know how to wheel here. That's why it's hot to under the water. Yeah, we get lost down in the water under the sea.
Number 4. Beauty and the Beast. Now, for a film that was based on a French fairy tale, it sure was successful. I mean, what kind of animated film gets nominated for Best Picture? Plus, by my opinion, this film gives me one of my favorite arguments ever put in a film.
Just hold still.
That hurts!
If you'd hold still, it wouldn't hurt as much.
If you hadn't have run away, this wouldn't have happened.
If you hadn't frightened me, I wouldn't have run away.
Well, you shouldn't have been in the West Wing.
Well, you should learn to control your temper.
I love that part. Even beastly men can be outsmarted by the beauty of women. Though, even with that scene, I'm not really fond of this masterpiece.
Say what?
I'm more fond of the follow-up to this film. Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas.
As long as there's Christmas, I truly believe that
If you don't like my opinion, I advise you to go get a life.
Say what?
Number 3. The Lion King. Do I really have to explain why I put it on here? Seriously. Memorable characters, iconic musical numbers, and groundbreaking animation. It's basically the enchilada of modern Disney films. You know what I mean?
It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata?
Yeah, it's our motto.
What's the motto?
Nothing. What's the matter with you?
It's funny because it sounds Italian.
It's me, Mario!
Anyways, throughout most of this video, I gave you all a good majority of my opinion on some of Disney's genius. This, however, I really have nothing much to say about the film that is ranked as the first highest grossing animated film of all time. However, I will give you a piece of advice. If nobody has ever seen this film, then consider yourself as brainless as the hyena Ed. I said hyena! Better.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
I feel your pain, Scar. Number 2. Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. Now, clearly, this cannot be a top 10 Disney films list without mentioning the film that presented us to the magic of Disney. Though, like most great genius, this film is kind of outdated. Like, I really have to ask this question. Did the voice actress for Snow White inhale helium during the recording of the film? Seriously, listen.
Now don't tell me who you are. Let me guess. I know. You're Duck.
Why, yeah, that's true.
Oh, you must be grumpy.
See, even when she talks in a low voice, she sounds like the love child of Alvin and the Chipmunks. Though, flaws or not, Snow White will always be considered, by my opinion, and pretty much the world's opinion, as the greatest animated film of all time.
Say what?
Now, I know what you're thinking. How could I possibly top Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, the greatest Disney film of all time? Well, believe it or not, there's actually one that's even greater. What could it possibly be? Well, I'll tell you. And the number 1 Disney film is Mary Poppins. Now, I know what you're thinking, this is considered cheating considering it's not a Disney animated film. Well, for those who have seen the film, oh let's face it, you all have seen it, then you would know that this is considered a hybrid film. It's basically a film that's half live action and half animated. But anyways, every image and moment is just pure genius. From Mary Poppins flying with her umbrella, to Bert and his chimney sweeps. Everything from this film shows all the magic that good old Uncle Walt has brought us throughout his magical film career. Even though there has been some people who don't respect his genius. But we'll get to that another time. Now, I have to be honest, I barely remember watching this film. But as I watch it again today, I can clearly understand why this nanny is considered practically perfect in every way. And as I'm recording this, it's been at least a few months since I watched the film Saving Mr. Banks, the untold story of how the Disney company made the Mary Poppins film, and how they went through with their greatest obstacle. In fact, note this up with you saying Mr. Banks sometime in the future. Anyways, Mary Poppins, the #1 Disney film of all time. So, how did that word go again, Miss Poppins?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. 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 Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yada 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 yada. So what's your favorite Disney film? Be sure to leave a comment below as we dive into more of the genius that is the Walt Disney Company. Until we meet again.